who better than my buddy Tim, who has a real good history of basketball knowledge, experience. Tim, welcome to the channel. I know you're a fan. I know you're subscribed. I know you're locked in. But now,
Hold on, Corin. What you're not telling people is that your OG audience might be familiar with me because I was on a pod with you, I think to the month 5 years ago, because I
wow,
remember it was deep pandemic era, And if you want to like learn about me, I'm just a guy at the end of the day. But if you want to learn about me, check that one out.
that's
Okay,
my
going
bad.
to the
I have the worst memory. So I apologize, Tim, because I really enjoyed our chat and I loved learning so much about it. The reason we're here is because we're going to do a little NBA playoffs breakdown. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start in the West. And I started with this one little kind of overarching theme of the West. There's no underdogs. So I would say put all of the whatever seed someone is out the window. That does not matter. So the first matchup we're going to get into is OKC, who is the number one seed. And right now, their matchup is still TBD. But to me, Tim, it doesn't matter who they're going to play in this first round. The potential matchups are Memphis, Dallas, or Sacramento. They should smack all of those teams. They're all in disarray. And that's one matchup in the West, if you were to look at, be like, that should be a 4-0 sweep. That should be, 4-1.
So my burning question for this series is which of these three teams is most likely to have their private jet and their villa in Cabo already booked? Like who's made dinner reservations already at this point and is ready to just like choot 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 zip out of there? Who cares? I think I'm of the mind that OKC could come out of the West minus Jalen Williams. I think they could come out of the West minus Chet Holmgren. Like, say one of them were to get hurt. The only one is Shea, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Wrap him in bubble tape, play him 20 minutes a game. They'll still win by 20 points a game in that first round series.
Yep.
They're that good. We'll talk about later round stuff, but as far as this series, yawn, who cares? Let's go to the next series.
Well, so here's my thing quickly on it. It's kind
Yep.
of crazy that there's just two different dynamics in, three franchises versus one. You look at OKC and there's stability, there's draft picks, there's like a head coach that seems secure in his job. Their GM is obviously very successful and like doesn't have to worry about anything. And then these three teams who, I mean, technically they're still in the playoffs playing whatever, but like completely opposite in disarray, like Dallas, Sacramento, and Memphis, all just like so chaotic. But the thing that, so like, I'm not worried about any of them because I clearly don't think that they're going to beat OKC. The one thing with OKC, don't seem experienced enough. Obviously, everybody talks about how young they are. It kind of worries me a little bit because that's like that's not something to like just brush off in the playoffs.
Not at all. A story as old as time. Like teams have to take their lumps. You look at the history of the NBA, young teams will sort of surprise and make the playoffs one year. Then they'll surprise and go on a little bit of a run, but they always get that reality check.
Yeah.
They very well could have gotten their reality check last year, right? When they got waxed by Luka.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're just about ready. And I think they are ready. I think like we said, there's no favorites in the West right now. I think it's wide open. Like just glancing at it, I think 6 teams in that draw could come out of the West. So may the best team win. There's going to be some luck. There's always injuries in the playoffs.
Yep.
There's always matchup considerations.
Yep.
Like sometimes the best team will just draw a bad matchup and that gets revealed over the course of the 7-game series.
100%.
And that's what's so fun about the playoffs is watching that sort of unfold.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll say on OKC is like you watch them and you see the post game antics where like if one player is getting interviewed, they're all getting interviewed. And we'll get into the Knicks series later and kind of team chemistries across the board for all these teams. One thing about OKC is they seem like they genuinely really all rock with each other and enjoy playing with each other, and that like sometimes if something goes sour, they seem like a group that kind of are genuinely all on the same page that they can quickly turn it around. So that's going to be interesting to watch. We're going to go either all in on this series. Are you going to watch it, or are you going to change the channel? So give me a prediction for the series that we can come back to and laugh at you, and then tell me what you're doing with this series.
I wonder if a like random game from 2004 would get better ratings on NBA TV than this series. Oklahoma City in 3.5.
I think it is a 4-0 sweep. Yeah. I was going to
Even
maybe
Memphis.
give one to the other team, but no, this is 4-0.
Even Memphis, it's a 4-0 sweep. That
Yep.
team's in disarray.
It's 4-0.
Nothing.
Okay, so we're not watching this one. Hopefully, we don't have fans in OKC, Dallas, Sacramento, or Memphis. Let's go the number 2 Rockets, Houston Rockets, versus the number 7 seed Golden State Warriors. This one is another one that is like just put the seeds aside, because the Golden State Warriors with 5 championships or something, or four. Let's break this down a little bit, okay? So Houston Rockets, they have Ime Udoka, who, like, all of a sudden, I mean, not all of a sudden, he was very successful with the Celtics, made it to the finals. They were doing well. He got caught up in, like, kind of some allegations. And he really revived the team.
Some allegations, indeed.
He's got them playing well. He's got a very young team, similar to OKC. Let me hear your thoughts on this series out the gate.
Yeah, it's like you can always feel a sort of a vibe shift happen within the NBA.
Like a
But
changing of the guards.
yeah, but sometimes it teases itself a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then you recognize that it's not there yet. The Rockets present a lot of issues for Golden State. However, if you look at the Vegas line on this, it's Warriors all the way, because they have Steph, they have Jimmy Butler, and they have Draymond. 3 guys that, we were talking about what it takes to win a playoff series, and that sort of like that tactical X and O stuff. They know how to do that, and they will. The Rockets are going to make it tough. I don't think this is an easy series at all for Golden State. If they drop a weird game somewhere, like, I could see it getting a little dicey. Any series you have Dillon Brooks in, you're going to get the theatrics, right? Yeah. So you get Ime's sort of like toughness and Dillon Brooks theatrics. That just, it throws chaos into a series, and when there's chaos, anything can happen.
Yeah.
That said, I'm going Golden State in 6 on this one.
I like that prediction. I kind of, as you were going through your thought process, I thought the same thing. I can see Golden State having to fight through some adversity and still being like the big brother and pulling it out. I think this can kind of be not the end of the Warriors, because like I still think they're going to be very good. Like Steph is still going to be there. He's still Steph Curry. But it could be the start of like maybe
I wanted to talk about this.
And it really shakes up. It could go 2 ways, and obviously you don't want to play both sides of the fence, but like if Houston wins, do the Warriors kind of break themselves up, and like it's like they beat the brakes off them, and they beat them like 4-0, and it's super ugly, and people are like, what just happened here? To your point, I don't think the Rockets are there yet. I don't think they're kind of primed to be that team yet. I think this will be a grinded out, gritted out. But to your point, I think the Warriors still aren't ready to be fully broken up yet and get out of this first round.
Yeah, I think
Warriors in 6. I agree with you there.
Warriors in 6. Yeah, especially if they steal one of those first 2 games at home.
Yeah.
Like, or not steal, win. Because I think they will win. It presents a lot of summer questions, like you said, right? So think about it for Houston, right? They've talked about going out and getting a big fish. They have all those assets. Like, do you expedite that timeline based on what happens this series?
Yep.
If you get totally stomped, like, what does that mean? And then for the Warriors, it's even more interesting, because, like, if you can't make it out of a first-round series and you've sort of gone all in on Jimmy Butler, there's only one of 2 moves to make. One is you sign and trade Kuminga, and I want to talk about that for a second, that whole Kuminga thing. Very interesting. Or
Well,
you trade Draymond Green. And now I think all signs point to Kuminga. They had a do or die game yesterday, and
mhm.
he was not in the rotation.
Yeah.
By the looks of it, he is not going to be part of the rotation in the first round. Maybe there will be a matchup thing along the way where they dust him off and bring him out, but like super surprising. It's not about him being young because they got Pajemski playing, Moody
Yep.
is getting minutes,
Yep.
Quentin Post, a rookie, is getting minutes.
Yeah.
It's they don't see him as a winning piece on their team for whatever that's worth.
We don't know what the reason is behind it, but it is a weird one because he's a phenomenal player, and you would think that he would match up well against one of their young guys or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's surprising that he's kind of been already outcasted from this series.
Yeah. Some interesting stuff I'm looking out for is how they guard Steph Curry, right?
Yep,
That's always fascinating. You have to
you got
chase
a
him
lot of
around
bodies to throw at
screens
him.
and you have to put bodies on him, right? So I think you'll see Dylan Brooks spending time on him, of course. Fred Van Vliet plays him pretty well, has
NBA
done so in
champion.
playoff series before, and also Amen Thompson, of course. Like, can he cloak him over the course of a 6 minute stretch in a game that swings a game? And then also, how often do the Rockets go double big? They have been playing Sengun
Yeah,
alongside Steven Adams for stretches, and then even having like Jabari Smith at the three, which is super big, and that takes the Warriors outside of their game.
yep.
And now, like, of course, the Warriors can stay inside of their game and use that to their advantage, but just something interesting for the fans to watch as that series unfolds.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. Two great coaches. Again,
Yep.
Udoka seems to be pressing the right buttons right now, and maybe it could be an upset. So we both got Warriors in 6. So this one, are you all in? Are you just watching? I don't think we're changing the channel on this one.
All in. Anytime, honestly, like not even a fanboy, but anytime Steph Curry is on the television, you have to
Agreed.
watch.
Agreed.
Like, how could you not? And then you look at all the other, like, trappings of the series, it's going to be a great one.
Yep. Yep. I agree. So this one is going to be a doozy. The number 3 Lakers. So if we go down a little bit, are playing the number 6 Minnesota Timberwolves. So this one, we've got a little vested interest in because our boy Julius Randle had some choice words I saw in an interview, and he seemed to kind of very carefully choose his words. He said that in his career, this is his best chance to like finally win something. And I don't know if that's a shot like at the Knicks and like when he was in the playoffs and because he was injured, but like it kind of was surprising his choice of words there to kind of say that that's his best shot to win. So this is kind of like a legacy, I guess, series for him to like prove himself as a player. What else do I have here? An interesting is the Timberwolves use Joe Ingles as the stand-in for Luka
I saw
Doncic
that.
for practice,
Yeah.
and the Lakers used Bronny and Shake Milton as Anthony Edwards. So if you're going off of talent to decide on who
Scouting,
to,
scouting.
your scout team, I kind of tip the edge to the Lakers a little bit just off of youth, but Joe Ingles is still solid.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this series? Obviously, there's LeBron. Obviously, there's Luca. How are they going to play in the playoffs? Austin Reeves, JJ Redick's first series. This one to me has the most storylines and is like the kind of sexiest one. What's your initial take on this series?
Like, I don't know if there are enough cameras that you could possibly fit inside an arena for the mega wattage that you get with LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, and Luka Doncic. Like,
Yep.
come on, made for television event. It feels almost like WWE. And on top of that, I think it's going to be a very good series. I think it's going to be a very good series. To me, what it comes down to is, and I don't need to oversimplify it. We're in podcast land, so I'm going to simplify it a little bit. Like, who can put their imprint on the game more, Anthony Edwards or Luka Doncic? Like, to me, like LeBron is. That's not to sort of like suggest he's second cast to them. Like, but he's a shapeshifter of a player. He'll find his way to
100%.
make his impact in the
Yeah.
series regardless. But like, how can Luka and Anthony Edwards make their impact on both sides of the ball?
Yeah.
Because I think that's going to be really interesting as well. Um, for one, I think like, you talk about like these matchups within a playoff series, and everything gets exposed in the playoffs, right? You put a little magnifying glass and it gets exposed. So for the last several months, the Lakers have gotten away pretty well over the course of the 82 game schedule with playing Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic big minutes together on the floor. But in the
Hmm.
playoffs, what we know happens, the ball gets marched up the floor, they find cross matches, they run off ball screens to get a guy a matchup that they want, and they're going to hunt them relentlessly. They're going to hunt Reeves, they're going to hunt Luka, they're going to make them work. Now, I'm not saying that they can't stand up and guard somebody, but they are going to get hunted, and the pressure is going to be on them. And so I think that's going to be really interesting. I just have notes around a probable closing lineup because they don't play Gobert at the end of games,
Hmm.
being something along the lines of Ant, Dante, Julius, Naz Reid, and Jaden McDaniels. All those guys can either shoot the ball, put pressure on the rim, or make a move off the dribble. So they're going to be able to hunt Reeves and Luka in those matchups. And then on the other end, you reference Julius Randle. As a Knicks fan, I can't let that slide. So I wonder if he remembers game 6 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against Miami when he went 3 of 14 from the field and his teammate Jalen Brunson dropped 41 points and we lost by 2 points. That feels pretty close to me. Maybe not close enough for him, but
Yep.
close to me.
Yep.
So, and legacy game, forget a legacy game. Is he going to exercise his playoff demons? I mean, this guy has put up and I love
Yeah.
Julius Randle, has
Yep.
put up stinker after stinker after stinker after stinker in the playoffs. I
Yeah.
think this actually could be a good moment for him because I think they're going to use him defensively on both LeBron and Luka because we know when he's engaged in one-on-one matchups, he can do it because he has the
When he's
size,
engaged. Yeah.
the strength, and the foot speed. And so when you give him those matchups with other great defenders around him, I think you're going to see him in that moment a lot. Or does it go the complete other way? Because Chris Finch does not F around. I could very well see a series where he says, you know what, you're playing 12, 18 minutes a game. We might even pull you for a game because we don't
That's
like what you're getting. And so that's
yep.
going to be I'm excited to watch all of that stuff unfold. Not as
Yeah.
much in an X and O way, but in like a made for Hollywood drama way.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's interesting because you can kind of get the best of Julius Randle or the worst of Julius Randle. And if he, starts missing some shots early, starts shooting too many shots early, if he's not running back on defense, he lets up a lot of, points in that regard. And to your point, the Wolves head coach might take him, might bench him, and then you kind of get a disinterested Julius for the rest of the game, rest of the series. Um, and the Timberwolves, I haven't followed their season too closely, but I know they've gone up and down and kind of had moments where Anthony Edwards is in the locker room and kind of like testing his guys, questioning their heart, questioning kind of where they are as a team. To me, that's a difference from OKC. Like OKC, they figure it out. Guys really genuinely like each other. These guys have only known each other for a couple months. Like they're still fresh and new to the team. Dante
Yeah.
DiVincenzo doesn't seem to. Again, this is just I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but he doesn't seem like he has fully gelled in that Minnesota Timberwolves offense. And that's another guy that like is a wild card because he can be someone that really uplifts your offense, but he doesn't seem to be fitting well with some of those other guys.
Yeah, he didn't to start, but he has been killer as of
Okay.
late.
Okay.
Has really started to come on, and like they dropped some questionable games late in the season.
Mhm.
But if you sort of like erase a few like silly losses, they actually they really started to turn it on in the second half of the season.
Mhm.
I I think that this is going to be another great series. I have a prediction.
Okay, go for it.
Lakers in 6.
I'm not mad at that. I think they're too. They've got too much star power, and they always say like, um, who has the best player on the court, and I still think LeBron James is the best player on the court. I think to your point, he like you can kind of offset Luka and Anthony Edwards. I would almost give the nod to Anthony Edwards. I think he's a generational talent. He's unreal. I think he's locked in.
Defensive side of the ball, incredible.
Defensive side of the ball, like he gets it as a leader. But him and Luka can cancel each other out. Like
Yeah.
LeBron James is still LeBron James. Like to your point, the guy could go 3 quarters without scoring, still be in the right mindset to put up 20 in the fourth and win the
Yeah.
game. I don't think he's got the clutchest genes. I don't think that like he's a guy that I don't like could hit a game winning shot or like he can
Yeah.
facilitate the ball, get it in the right hands, but he's not like that killer.
Hmm.
But he understands a series, he understands a game, and the moments where he has to kind of be LeBron James and kind of elevate other guys. And I think ultimately, to your point, I think that's going to help the Lakers and be that kind of crucial thing that they need to win the series. So I agree with you. I think this one's going to go 7, but I think the Lakers are going to win this one just because of LeBron James. And granted, I'm going to go back to my ex Twitter conspiracy theories. I think the referees and the NBA want the Lakers to do a little well also. So like,
They
you
they
know,
might
I,
they might have eyes on a particular second round matchup. If you look at the bracket, everybody, we're sharing the screen on purpose.
oh,
They
with that
might
for
have
sure.
their eyes on a particular second round matchup that they want to see.
That's what. So I like. This always used to happen every Knicks game. I don't know why the NBA didn't want the Knicks to do well, but Joey Crawford would be reffing every single game.
Yeah.
There's the guy now, and I can't think of his name. Who's like the main ref that Chris Paul has always had his outs with?
Oh, Scott Foster.
Scott Foster I
Yeah.
haven't seen him in a while. Is he still refing?
Who knows? Hopefully he's retired.
Yeah,
Hopefully, like he
I
got
don't
a
know if he
place in
kind of like.
Florida or something like that.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know,
again, I could be wrong, and I haven't seen his face on a lot of NBA games. But if he's still refing this series, he's gonna be in
yeah,
Minnesota and
yeah.
LA every single. He's the guy that the
They've
NBA
already
wants
got.
to make sure.
They have his hotel booked at the Intercontinental in downtown
100%.
LA. He's got his room. They know his order. They've got his robe all set up. He's there.
100%. And it's like people, like, we could have a whole nother conspiracy episode, but it's just funny to me that NBA refs don't ever have to answer questions at the end of the game. There's the like Scott Foster's on every single big game, and it's not because he's a legacy ref or whatever. Like the guy legit was reffing with Tim Donahue, and like all this crazy stuff. But let's move on. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. The last series in the West is gonna be. Oh, sorry. So Lakers Minnesota. We all in? Or are we watching? Or are we changing the channel?
All in.
We're clearly
All
all in.
in.
Okay. That one, yeah, that one is going to be a nice ratings boost for the NBA. Last series in the West is the number 4 seeded Denver Nuggets versus the number 5 Los Angeles Clippers. So very high level. Let me give you some of my things that I saw here, and I love this matchup. I think this is gonna be a phenomenal series. There's so much happening around the Denver Nuggets right now that is like, are they in disarray? Is Jokic going to be this MVP that can kind of be like a coach, leader, and kind of offset that they've just fired their coach, fired their GM, and someone said that Zubac and Jokic is must see TV, and I kind of laughed at that. But is Zubac having like a phenomenal season or something that like obviously not Jokic level, but like that's not must see TV in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot of other storylines than that one.
My first note in my like not my main theme, but my sub notes is Zubac versus Jokic.
Wow,
I'm
what is it?
excited to talk about that. Excited to talk about that.
So get into it,
Uh,
like, cause like I haven't followed Zubac. I know he on ESPN, and like Kawhi was just like, I don't watch ESPN. Like I don't know what that whole soundbite was.
he he's just continued to get better and better and better, and he's in a really good situation right now. He's like a perfect fit alongside the guys that he's playing with, and everything's coming up. Skittles and gumdrops for Ivica Zubac, or however you say his first
Yeah,
name.
you got better than
Zoo,
I
they
could.
call him Zoo. His teammates call him Zoo, so we're just gonna call him Zoo.
Yeah,
Um, it, I don't think that matchup doesn't matter because you don't guard Jokic one on one, but um, he is somebody that is like somebody you need to discuss when you're talking about the Clippers. This series right here, this Denver Clippers series, could very well be a Western Conference Finals matchup.
yeah,
I know the Clippers weren't expected to be great this year, but we have to throw out whatever the preseason predictions were. They have been great all
dude.
year.
I wrote down they won their last 18 of 21 games to close the season, which is
Yeah.
like kind of ridiculous. Like
Yep.
that's not even like you don't see anybody talking about that too much. Like it was kind of just like a footnote in one of the things that I saw in this series. That's
And
impressive. Like you want to be going into the playoffs with that stat.
so I had notes about like a clash of styles and
Hmm.
like the way that they play. Forget all that. There are many times in the NBA playoffs when it comes down to, do you have the best player on the floor? Now, Nikola Jokic is probably one of the 15 or 20 greatest players ever already. He's coming off multiple MVPs. He's won an NBA championship. He just had one of the greatest basketball seasons the NBA has ever seen. Yet, what we've been seeing in the last 2 months from Kawhi Leonard, who now just put together 2 games of 42 and 47 minutes. We're not talking about like Jamal Murray going off on a heater. We're
Yeah,
not talking about, you know, um, Donovan Mitchell and having erupting for a huge playoff series. We're talking about Kawhi Leonard
yeah,
is one of the rare players where if he is healthy, if he is having his moment, can be the best player in the series. And so I think it's just awesome to see. He's so fun to watch. He is so exceptional of a basketball player that it's fun to see him back.
yeah,
That I think there's a reasonable case to be had, and we'll see how it plays out because you never know when the Shams tweet is coming that says like
yeah.
um, Kawhi
Strain or
Leonard's
capture.
did
Yeah,
did not board the team flight to Denver and
yep,
is seeking an opinion. We don't
yep,
know, but right now with the way they are playing, I think that this is going to be just a totally awesome series.
yep.
I'm interested to see how, from a matchup standpoint, um, how they guard Jokic.
Hmm.
Like, because you don't want to double him, because the second you double him, he's picking you apart and he's
Of
throwing
course.
it all around. You want to let him get his points because
Yep.
that's not when he's at his best. Zubac will definitely spend time on him. They have no other front court players. Ben Simmons is a bum. We all know that. He shouldn't be seen more than 8 or 10 minutes.
I forgot they even give him minutes.
He's their backup five.
Uh,
Yeah, so they have nobody. I'm interested to see if they give Leonard 8 to 10 minutes a game on Jokic and what those minutes look like, because that could be the difference between a win and loss in
I
any
didn't even
game.
think about that as a matchup. Could be really spicy. Yeah. Um, I'm with you. I think like just because Kawhi has kind of been out for so long and like it's been so far removed kind of from when the Raptors won their championship and the whole saga with Paul George in LA and like Westbrook there, like you kind of forgot how good Kawhi Leonard is and like the fact that he's healthy. Like, dude, I watched he was at a San Diego Padres game, and he was smiling, laughing, like dapping up play. Like
Yeah.
he seems like he's actually trying to be a team guy right now and like have fun and embrace that, which in my eyes could be a bad thing because if you remember back when he was with Toronto, they were like warming up, and one of his teammates tried to like dap him up, and he kind of like just pointed out the tunnel and kind of deaded him. He seemed like he was just like I'm on this team,
in
but
the
I'm not a
zone.
team.
Yeah,
I'm not a teammate of yours.
yeah.
I'm gonna win this championship. So I kind of don't like and don't want to see him start embracing his teammates because it's like you're gonna lose that Kawhi fire that made you kind of this mysterious like is he's doing this all by himself. If
So
he, yeah, go.
that feels like a long time ago,
Yeah,
right? You want to know what doesn't feel that long ago? That
what's that?
James Harden routinely stinks it up in the playoffs.
That
He has
too.
been great this year, but every year he stinks it up in the playoffs.
Yep.
Denver in 7.
I this is one. So I think so far we've agreed on OKC, we've agreed on the Warriors, we've agreed on the. Oh, did you? Who'd you take? Lakers in 6. I got
I said
Lakers in
Lakers
7.
6. You said
Okay,
Lakers 7.
so we agreed on that one. I disagree with you on this one. I think the Clippers like actually play really well. That they go into the next round, and people are like, "Can the Clippers actually make some noise?" Granted, I don't. Who would they play in the next round? They would play OKC.
That's yeah. Winners
I
playing
think they lose
OKC.
to OKC. Um, but there's something, and I feel bad because I don't want to make it personal with him, but I think there's something with Russell Westbrook where he's just a guy on your team, and similar to very like Carmelo Anthony, phenomenal player, like stats out of the world, but he just doesn't elevate your team or bring like this good juju to win. I think he is someone that kind of just
A vibe
doesn't
killer.
elevate other
He's
guys.
an energy vampire.
An energy vampire, yeah, sure. like I think I don't think it's going to be good for Denver. I think they're going to get waxed. I think they're either going to get swept
Really?
4-0 or 4-1. And the Clippers
Wow.
again are rolling right now. Like Harden's hot,
They are.
Leonard's hot. And I don't really know how good of a coach he is, Tyronn Lue, but like he seems to have done well. He hangs
Well,
around. Ballmer likes him.
he has the best assistant coach in the NBA, one Jeff Van Gundy.
Yeah, they've
So
got the Jeff Van Gundy factor too, which I forgot
they've
about.
got the Van Gundy factor.
Yeah, it could be Clippers in 4. Van Gundy, for people
You
that
want to know
don't
what?
know, was like a special assistant for the Celtics when they won their
Yep.
championship. The fact
Yep.
that Jeff Van Gundy has a championship ring with the Boston Celtics like takes a little piece of my heart, man, because that guy should have no association with the Celtics.
Yep. Yeah. We just gotta like wipe that out of our memory. I will in my notes I have Clippers in 7, but I pivoted and I'm sticking with my Denver in 7. So we'll revisit this.
Okay, so yeah, so the Clippers also have a top 5 defense, which is very impressive.
Uh,
Yeah, again, they won 18 of 21, and they've got like a real cool arena. Like
oh
shout
yeah,
out to their arena.
the home court factor will be interesting in the playoffs.
It's like I don't know what Ballmer did with the like who could buy tickets, who can't buy tickets, but like even if they aren't sold out there, I think they do a good job of like putting LED lights in the seats to make it look like people are sitting there. So like
Shine lasers in Jokic's eyes. Yeah.
yeah, like they've got the wall, they've got it all going in their way. So I like the Clippers in that one. So that one, are you all in? Are you watching? Or are you changing the channel?
I'm all in. I mean, what sucks is like I can't be all in on all these series, right?
I
You
know.
know, I got a life to live, and also all this stuff just airs way past my bedtime. But I
Yes.
will be. I'll wake up. I'm gonna be watching the whole YouTube recap, that like
Yep.
12-minute video that they post,
Yep.
and I'm all in on this series. Like I said, it could very well be the Western Conference Finals in a different draw, but we're lucky enough to get it as a first round series.
Yep, I agree. So the West is kind of all settled. Again, no underdogs in the West. Some phenomenal matchups. It's going to be a lot of really good basketball. Those are our predictions. I'm curious to see, what you guys think. Hopefully, I'm going to try and get this out on Friday. So leave some comments on your predictions, storylines that we missed. It should be good. Watch the games. Let us know your thoughts. Come back and yell at us if we didn't pick your team. But enjoy the Western Conference playoffs.